Hi, everybody. It's Michael and Julie again. And today, especially for Mother's Day, we're joined by two wonderful ladies. We have Ciara Maeve hEanacháin, sorry, who is a Mother magazine founder and author, and Elaine Mullally, who is a wife, mother, and entrepreneur. And we've had conversations with these two wonderful ladies before. And to celebrate Mother's Day, we thought, what better people to have on to chat about motherhood in Éire at this time.
Yes, gur míle mágad fóilse, ladies. As I said to you before, I think you are both awesome. It is wonderful getting the opportunity to chat to you both about motherhood and especially with the way things are in Irish society. And one of my favorite quotes for Mother's Day by Kipling is that God could not be everywhere, so he created mothers. And I thought, here are two perfect examples of Irish women who are mothers, but who are also concerned about their children in the current society. So, if you'd like to just give us your thoughts, please, that would be wonderful. A little bit about being a mother, and I'm hoping it's a joyful experience. And then perhaps also about what you see is happening currently with the Irish society and the way they're treating Irish mothers. So, I don't mind who goes first because we're just delighted to have you both.
Elaine, do you want to go first?
Okay, Ciara, I will. I'll jump in. Um, so yeah, one of the greatest gifts, or two of the greatest gifts that I was ever given were my two daughters. And that was 22 and 23 years ago. And your life just changes completely when you're given that gift. You don't realize, well, didn't realize beforehand I was very career driven, and I just thought my career was everything until these two bundles came into my life, and then my whole world completely did a U-turn for the better. They've taught me about unconditional love. They've taught me to love myself unconditionally first and foremost, because if I can't show them that unconditional love. So I'm very, very blessed. This Mother's Day is tinged slightly because it'll be my first year without my eldest daughter living with us. Everything I was fighting for the last 6 years to keep my daughters here, or at least know that they could stay here and live independently. My eldest girl, Rachel, is now living in the UK. And before I get attacked because she's emigrated, she found her own job and she's got her own accommodation. She's a net contributor to the government in Britain. She has never drawn a cent from them, so is very independent. But she had to move abroad to be able to live independently of us. And I've raised both my girls to be independent, to be confident, and to know who they are as people. I believe they have become those two young women. So it's only tinged because she's not with me, and that's selfish reasons. But I'm also delighted for her because she's very, very happy. She's very content. She's very well adjusted. She loves her job. She loves the people she lives with. And I still have my baby with me. So
Very good.
happy Mother's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Elaine. And I'm sure she'll be missing you too today on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Ciara, it's a hard act to follow.
Yeah. So, first of all, I totally get that. My son is 18 and he's just about to do his leaving cert. And that idea of them growing up and them leaving the nest. And for me, it's not so much about the empty nest syndrome, it's about recognizing the moment that they're ready to leave. And they might not be fully ready, but there's a readiness. And their behavior changes and the way they live changes and the way they speak change. And it's so important for us, or for me anyway, in my situation, to grow in the way that he needs me to grow so that we can both expand together so that it's not like filled with friction. And in my situation, I was never meant to be able to have kids. So I was told that there was a 99.9% chance that I wouldn't have any kids. I've pretty severe endometriosis, and then a surgeon botched a laparoscopy when I was 24. So they perforated the back wall of my uterus, left a hole, a big infection, all kinds of things happened. So when I was pregnant with Josh, I had him at 29 weeks. So I had him 11 weeks early. Yeah. And it was really weird because I wasn't worried because at 28 weeks I had gone in to have a scan and they had said that he was over 2 pounds and he was a really, really big, healthy baby. So when I went in to have him at 29 weeks, I thought, this is all going to be fine. He's going to be completely fine. And he came out so strong. He was £2, 13 ounces, or £3, 13 ounces. He was tiny. He was just over the size of my hand, but he was so perfect. And it was the most incredible feeling. It was the best thing that had ever happened in my life. Just finding out that I was pregnant and then having this miracle, because that's exactly what he was and what he is a miracle. And people meet him now and he's 6'2" and he's built like a tank, and they're looking at him going, and he was premature. And I said, yes, it's very premature.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you find this, but the first 16 years of Josh's life were, I would say a lot of them were easy. It was easy to parent this incredible person that was in my life. But when he turned 16, things changed. Things changed. And it wasn't that he became this bad person. It was suddenly there was a new dynamic, and we were both hormonal because I hit perimenopause at the same time he turned 16. And I just think no one tells you any of these things. No one tells you that certain things can run along beside each other and cause all kinds of war, and you just have to go for it. But a bit like you said, Elaine, about your daughter, Josh is so well adjusted. He's such a strong human. He's an incredible communicator. And I watch him out in the world and I see him, and I just think, I'm so glad that I had a hand in the person that he is. But nature is very, very strong in him. His own nature is very strong and very apparent in him. And I definitely want to say this because I had this conversation with my sister. You know, the idea of a good son or a good daughter, right? So, this idea of a good son or a good daughter should do what they're told, and they should, be seen and not heard, and they should agree with their parents, and they shouldn't argue. There's all these kind of rules that are, I would say, old and conditioned. And I said this to him the other day. I said, he's not your stereotypical good son, because I don't believe in that stereotype, but he is an incredible person. And I would rather him be an incredible person, like a fabulous human, than pigeonhole him into the need to have a really good son. And I've enjoyed every single step of this journey, even the hard bits. And I would just love mothers to talk about it more, talk about those moments that are difficult or tough, but also talk about the moments that are a celebration. And I find often that mums are almost afraid to celebrate their kids, because if I celebrate my child and I say he's amazing, and you're going through a hard time with your child, that might make you feel bad. But on the converse side of things, if I'm going through hardship with my son, can I share it with you, or will you judge me? And I feel like this, and I think it goes back to the conversation we had the last time that you interviewed us, guys, was the idea of connection and community.
Yeah.
And Mother's Day needs to be that time where we get to come together as mothers and feel like we're connected in this powerful thing that we do all the time, just being mothers.
Lovely.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like a great idea, Ciara. And maybe that's something that your magazine, All In magazine, and the lovely Elaine was the cover lady for that. And then Michael and I
She sure
decided
was.
that we could feature too. I think it's Michael's turn next month, but that certainly could be a topic that you bring up in the magazine. Would you like to tell the viewers? I'm going to put the links underneath also a little bit about your magazine, because we think it's brilliant and it's just so open, so authentic, and people really, I suppose, freedom of speech is alive and well in that magazine because they give their point of view and you as the editor permit all that. So would you like to tell the viewers about it?
Well, a bit like the journey to motherhood, the idea that there should be no censorship in anything is so important to me. If you have a story that you need to tell, if you have a point that you want to get across, if you have an opinion that you want to share, I think often we have lost the art of a good debate
Yeah.
where people can come together. And I always reference back in the day, and you'd see, especially in a British movie, and you'd see them going to the pub, and they would be in college, Oxford or Cambridge, and they would meet in the pub and they would have a very heated debate. And they would call each other names and they would tell each other that they were horrendous. And at the end of it all, they'd be having pints and they would still have their own unique opinions, but nobody was offended. And I find that really lacking in society today. So I had this idea that I wanted to create the magazine and I wanted to make sure that it was a platform that anybody that came to write in it was allowed to have their opinion without me censoring anything. And that opinion could go out into the world and be what it is and see how people would react and respond to it. So it's very focused, I would say, on personal development, on entrepreneurship, on philanthropy to a certain extent. Uh, Creators would often, come in and write. I have incredible people like Elaine on the cover, and we have some really, really cool interviews with really cool people. And I love it. It's been ongoing for 20 months now, so I feel like it's established, which is great.
Great, yeah. Yeah, no, we enjoy, we look forward to it each month. I know we
I love
contribute
that.
to it, and we know some of the people who contribute, and we're always keen to see what they've said,
Yes. Some of them, yes, they
I
make
won't,
us
I won't
laugh as
mention, I won't
well.
mention anybody's names,
indeed. Yeah. No,
Yeah, one in particular is always a very interesting read.
Oh, absolutely,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
and talk about, people not being I wouldn't be a PC person in any way, shape, or form, and this other person isn't either, which is great, which I love. But Elaine, looking at era, as we like to call it, from a mother's perspective, I know your children are older now, but they're in their 20s. But how do you feel things are for mothers who are bringing children into the world at the moment and whose children are very young? The society has changed drastically in the last few years. And do you feel there's life is more difficult for people, or do you feel, I know there's technology there and people sort of feel life is a bit easier, but from a mother's perspective, do you feel that it's easier, or do you think there are more traps and dangers and whatever for our children growing up?
Well, Michael, I personally believe that my children, as I said, 21, 22, I think we've raised the last generation of children that weren't raised on technology. So my girls didn't get mobile phones till they were going into secondary school, as in they weren't allowed to have a phone, but they weren't allowed to bring their phone to school. There was very strict rules at home, which we all still abide by around phone usage. So they learned the discipline of the mobile. You control the mobile phone or the technology. The technology doesn't control you. I think the next generation coming in, I don't want to kind of paint too dim a picture because childbirth and raising a child and having that gift in your life is so precious. But I'm sure the challenges now are greater because they're born with mobile phones in their hands practically. They're raised with them as soothers. They're put in front of them in prams and buggies to entertain them. Children need that eye contact between a parent when they're pushing them and they're talking to them and they're gooing and gan. It's all part of development. It's all part of learning that connection between facial awareness, eye contact, expressions. Mammy's not happy today because I can see it on her face, whereas technology is replacing it in it to a huge part. I would love to see that overturned. I also think that parents now have a lot more challenges in our school system because there's a whole agenda being brought in, and we know it. We don't have to discuss it in detail in this particular podcast, but we do know that it's coming in, and we know that the schools are now providing books to our children, and they're not coming home, so parents are not getting that interaction with their child where they're reading through the books and seeing, oh well, that's quite interesting, and what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? The school books are remaining in school because the teachers, the Department of Education, don't want the parents to see what they're trying to teach the children. So there's huge challenges there. Even the meals, the school meals. If you feed your child, you know what nutrition your child is getting. And by the school taking that away or offering that service to parents, I think it's breaking down. Maybe children are not coming home as hungry as they would to sit around the dinner table in the evening and have that social interaction with the family, with their parents. How was school today? How did you get on? What were your friends doing? That was a very valuable part of my life with my girls growing up,
Yeah.
that I loved. I loved them coming in from school in the evening, number one, doing homework with them, and number two, when my husband would get in from his day's work, we'd all sit around the dinner table, we'd all talk. He spoke about work, I'd speak about my day, my girls would talk about their school day, and that's huge, that's valuable, and it's a very important part of family life and home life. My girls will remember that forever. They talk to me about coming home, the warm house, dinner, you were there, ma'am, and that's what they will remember for the rest of their life, as being part of growing up in an Irish household.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah.
think I think it's got challenges, Michael, and depending on the parents, I think parents are becoming more aware. Hopefully they'll break that cycle of technology controlling the brain rather than.
yeah.
Yeah, no, very, very valid points, Elaine. And I could see Ciara nodding away big time. I do a lot of nodding too on the Zooms. And also, we were listening to a podcast recently with Derek Domino, and he was saying that in Irish society now, the powers that be are like the dysfunctional mother, that they're looking after all the other children except the Irish children. So we can see that Irish families, Irish people, they're under pressure now, certainly because the powers that be think it's more important for all the other nationalities that are coming here. And we've seen that with St. Patrick's Day and the different situations that have arisen. And fair play to Elaine and Ciara, you're always putting things up on social media, heightening people's awareness so people can say, no, this isn't acceptable. It's important to celebrate our Irish festivals, our Irish culture, our Irish heritage. And we don't have time to go into the whole Dublin Zoo fiasco, but that all changed around, which was fascinating, which shows it's all about people power, which I think gives people hope. I think we have to be solution oriented. And as you said too, it's all about communities coming together, Ciara, because it's the Irish people and we're famous. We have a diaspora of over 70 million because we're kind, caring, compassionate people. So the Irish mummies are famous, and we have two famous examples here.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
as Julie said at the very beginning, Irish women, including the two of you ladies, are awesome, really are, because
Love the word.
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it is a fabulous word. In fact, the t-shirts we're wearing, we designed, so we will look at an awesome t-shirt to put together now in the next little while.
Yes,
There's a
yes.
couple
I don't
more.
know if you can wear it though, Michael. I think it's just
I
for the
don't care.
ladies.
I don't care. I'm in touch with
You go for it, Michael.
I'm in touch with my feminine side, and
Love it.
we were talking earlier on about a couple of days ago was Friday the 13th, and being a divine feminine and lunar cycles and all the rest, and I said to Ciara that I was born on Friday the 13th, so lucky for my mum and lucky for Julie, so definitely in touch with my feminine side.
Yes.
So, ladies, thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful Mother's Day, which is very important. And, just to send it out there are lots of men out there who are raising children on their own and they're doing the job of both mother and father, and we have to honor those. And I also would honor women who would love to be mothers, but for whatever reason can't be mothers. And of course, then you have women who take over the role of mother as stepmothers or whatever. So, all mothers to be, I honor you today. But listen, ladies, any last words of wisdom for all the mothers out there? Ciara, do you want to give us a few
Yeah,
of wisdom?
I was thinking about it the last night, and my son came home, and we've always been very communicative. So a bit like Elaine was saying there, I'd pick him up from school, and immediately I would say, "How's school?" And he's chatty. He's like me, little chatty Cathy. And he'd get in and he'd start, and he would just not shut up. And I'd ask him the questions. And he came home the other day from school, and he came into the house for the first time ever. He's 18, so he still will come into my room if I'm working, and he'll just splurge out whatever has happened in school today. He's just telling me everything. And it's beautiful because we've built that. He came in and he went straight up the stairs. And I thought, oh. And last year, he didn't want as many hugs as he had before, right? He decided that he just wasn't into it. And I'm a really big hugger. So I felt bereft by the lack of hugs. And I sat here on the couch and I thought, he hasn't had a hug today. I wonder, has anyone hugged him today? I wonder, has he gotten a hug in school? Who'd hug him in school? And the first thought that came to me was climb the stairs. And I feel like it's such a really, really big message because so often as parents, we don't do that one small thing. We don't climb the stairs, metaphorically or physically. There is a gap between the kids and the parents. And you'll hear parents say, well, they don't tell me what they do in school anyway. But we have to be the one to climb the stairs. We've got to be the one to make that initial, because sometimes kids don't. Sometimes they get to the point where they think that they can't, or life takes over. But they need the hugs and they need the communication and they love it when they get it. So climb the stairs. On this beautiful Mommy's Day, climb the stairs.
Brilliant.
Thank you for
Brilliant.
that.
That's just beautiful, Garmagad. And Elaine, what about yourself?
I would, my advice, I suppose, to anybody out there is to, particularly if you're a mother or a mother figure, is to embrace the role, is to step into it. As Ciara said, give hugs, give kisses. You'll know when the time is right to give them a hug. You'll know when the time is right to give space. But embrace it. Be proud to be a woman. Be proud to be a mother. Own the role. And I have a fantastic relationship with my daughters. They say to me sometimes, you're like my best friend, but I don't treat them like my best friend because I'm their mother. And as a mother, I have a responsibility. And that responsibility comes with not always giving them their own way. But I have, if I've done one thing is I have had to teach myself unconditional love, to teach them unconditional love, and to show them unconditional love, and to also teach them how to critically think. Don't take everything I say as gospel. Challenge me, challenge your dad, challenge your teachers, challenge everybody around you. And when it becomes true for you, then accept it.
Thank you very much.
For Míle Mágad,
Yeah.
wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you so much, ladies. Have a wonderful day. I hope you're both spoiled by your children. And
So far, so good.
yes, and happy Lo Éileamh Póric Freisin, which is coming up in a few days' time. And thank you so much, Gur Míle Mágad, again for your time and your words.
Thank you.
Gur Míle Mágad.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Mágad.
We shall talk to you
Thank
shortly.
you.
Wonderful.
Slán.